Skull Steve.
Hey, look at me with my front-facing camera. I'm all fancy schmancy now. Alright, welcome to the Skull Steve channel. I'm your host, Skull Steve. What is up, everybody? Hey there, hi there, ho there, folks. Still trying to get the perfect follow-up to my introduction going, but oh well. Today's video is called Tales from the Road. It is a series of videos I'm going to start doing about rather like bizarre, stranger than usual stories about people riding, about motorcycle related stuff, that sort of thing. And it's going to be true or mostly true stories, and it's going to be about, you know, people I know, and maybe about myself, and maybe you. If you got an interesting tale to tell me, then let me know. And it's got to be real though. It's not going to be, I can tell if you're telling me some bizarre stupid story like, oh yeah, one time I, you know, did this and this and that, went on a high-speed chase. No, I don't want to hear that. No, because I don't want to hear about that. Or if it's like some sort of milquetoast, boring, vanilla story, no, not that either. Yeah, if you got a story to share that's pretty, you know, pretty bizarre while you were riding, or something dealing with you riding your motorcycle, just DM me at SkellaSteve on Instagram. But today's Tale of the Road is about somebody that is I would consider him an acquaintance to me, and his name is New Rider. I'm not going to use real names, so we're just going to call him by certain nicknames. So New Rider, as you can tell, is a new rider. So like anybody else that's got the itch to riding that follows through, he bought his first motorcycle. He bought it, he was happy. He bought a, I believe it was a 94, 96, I gotta ask my friend, Suzuki Intruder 1400. Now that is a big bike for a new rider. He bought it off my friend, we're gonna call him Buddy. So he bought it off Buddy, and Buddy told me the same thing. You know, I thought it's, you know, big for him, but he said that he knew how to ride dirt bikes. He rode dirt bikes before, which I don't know the truth to that, because the outcome of the story says otherwise, or maybe just bad luck, or, you know, bad timing. So who knows, or whatever it was that caused this. He bought the bike off my buddy. My buddy had this bike for about 10 plus years, took great care of it, you know, did the preventive maintenance on it, kept it clean. He never dropped it, never crashed it, nothing like that. No, never scratched it. You know, babied it too. He babied the hell out of that bike, and he's had it for, like I said, 10 years and probably put about 10,000 plus miles on it. Not a lot for having it that long. I've had this bike for like 6 years. I put 35,000 miles on it. So yeah, he didn't put a lot of miles on it, and he sold it to New Rider and gave him a deal. New Rider bought it for about $1,200, and then my buddy went, took that money and another money, used it for a down payment towards a 2018 Indian Chieftain. Nice bike. And his Intruder was nice, but the only thing I had against his Intruder was it was ugly because of that stupid windshield he had on there and the saddlebags. Apparently that comes from the oh, my voice cracked. Apparently that comes from the manufacturer. That's what he was stating, which, that's ugly. What the hell is the manufacturer thinking? That like, here's a picture of it. The windshield is big and ugly. The bags are sagging leather. It does look bad on it. And that bike is considered, I guess, as a manufacturer chopper. You don't see it until you look at it naked, which it should be, and you take a good look at the neck, and it does take a little bit of wider turn, but it's not like something crazy or extreme. But I like it. It's got that like the 80s feel to it too, or 80s and 90s feel to it. So yeah, New Rider was giddy, Buddy was giddy because they both got new bikes. So I get a text one day from Buddy. He was saying that, he goes, hey, New Rider wants to go on a ride with us. He goes, he took the bike out one time, went down the street with it, but he wants to go on a full-on ride. I'm like, okay. He's ready for that? He goes, yeah. He said he's ready for it. I'm like, okay, that'd be cool, you know. Kind of reminds me of the old days when I was learning how to ride. I don't mind that. Anything to help out somebody new, especially somebody with that big of a motor. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, we'll go. He's all right. He goes, the only thing is I gotta have his wife, which not Buddy's wife, but New Rider's wife. He had to have New Rider's wife watch his son, Buddy's son, and then she had to watch their kids, New Rider and her kids. Yeah, she had to watch, you know, Buddy's son, so because his wife wanted to go, and then New Rider's wife had to watch their kids. So that was the only stipulation. And he goes, yeah, he goes, and we're only gonna ride for maybe like an hour or so. He goes, I got something to do afterwards. So yeah, that's fine. So the day comes, it was during the weekday, and he goes, we can't get a hold of her. Can't get a hold of New Rider's wife. He goes, I've been calling her. He's been calling her. I guess they got into a little spat. And she wasn't answering. She didn't want to care what, you know, he's got to say. They got into a little argument. We ended up scrapping the plan to ride because Buddy goes, yeah, the opportunity's up. He goes, the window's closing. He goes, I got stuff to do. I can't wait anymore. He's like, we'll just ride another day. I'm like, that's fine. So it's like around 11 o'clock, close to 11. I'm about to pass out. I go to work early. I'm lame. All of a sudden I get a message from Buddy. He goes, well, New Rider crashed the bike. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. I was like, he went riding? He goes, yeah, he went riding with one of his friends. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, he crashed the bike. Bike's missing. I'm like, what? He goes, yep, the bike went missing. He goes, he's on his way to the hospital. I guess he was on the freeway in Detroit. I'm like, wait a minute. He was on the freeway? First off, I don't recommend new riders really go on the freeway, of all things, at night. And in Detroit at night on the freeway is a complete war zone. You know, there's no rules. People will run you off the road, especially in the badder areas. They don't care. Everybody's out to play, and you don't know. People are not paying attention, or they don't care. It's not a good thing. We'll just say that. I don't prefer riding on the freeway. You know, a lot of people are just crazy down there. You know, and a lot of people don't have insurance. Our insurance policies suck here, so it's overpriced, way expensive. Some people can't afford it, so they ride down there with no insurance, and they hit you. They'll keep going. I've seen it so many times. So the story was that, you know, I guess he was somewhat conscious. He said that, you know, somebody was coming in his lane, and he blared his horn. My voice cracked again. He blared his horn. The horn wasn't working. The person that was driving like a minivan or something like that, just hit him, took him off the lane. I think he went in the shoulder, crashed his bike, and somebody found him on the side of the road, a Good Samaritan. They found out too he was riding with his friend. And we're gonna call his friend Douche Nozzle. Douche Nozzle, I guess what they found out, Douche Nozzle was riding in the front. If it's just two people and one person's an experienced rider, it should be that person in front. The experienced rider in the back, the inexperienced person in the front. You know, you got to keep an eye on that person at all times. If you're riding in more than 3 or more people, you want to put that inexperienced rider in the middle as best as you can. Never put them at the ends. Ends, front and tail are meant for the most experienced riders. That's what happened. The Douche Nozzle was in front. New Rider was in the back. He didn't pay attention, got hit, and kept riding. Didn't even check his mirrors to see where his friend was at. They couldn't find his phone either, New Rider's phone, so they didn't know what the hell was going on. Well, they ended up finding his phone, and Douche Nozzle texts him. They're thinking like 20 minutes after the fact of him getting hit, just text him, hey, where are you? That was it. That's all the text he got. He left him to die. New Rider was left for dead on the side of the road. He was left for dead on the side of the road, and Douche Nozzle didn't do nothing. He just kept riding. He didn't go back to look. He didn't want to see what was going on. There were so many wrongs in the story. The wrongs of the story, of course, is somebody hitting this guy. Another wrong is, he's on the freeway, he's inexperienced. and he's riding at night, and he's in Detroit of all places. That's all a no-no. And his buddy was leading, which his buddy should have been tailing him. His douche nozzle should have been in the back. New rider in the front. And that's just so messed up to think like he just went on his day without a care in the world. The guy ended up having, I think, broken leg, broken pelvis, internal bleeding, I think, in his kidney, and he got bad bruising, and I guess his twig and big giggleberries got bruised up too, so that, he's lucky to have that. He's lucky to be alive too. If it wasn't for that guy finding him and calling the police, you know, he would have been gone for it. And they found out what happened to the bike too. The bike was taken away by Detroit, the city of Detroit, because it caught on fire, and of course when it's an accident it gets impounded. But the bike got on fire. They got the fire department out there to put it out. That's also crazy to think that that's what kind of probably caught the guy's eye, because the bike was on fire and he pulled over to see if whoever was on there was okay. Man, it's really messed up, I tell you. Really screwed up. That douche nozzle guy was no better than the guy that hit him. I'm gonna tell you guys something too, and this is, I don't like to give advice, but if you are a new person riding, or you're a person that's experienced that's helping somebody ride, if it's just you two, newer person in the front, experienced person in the back. And if you're riding more with two people, like I said, keep that person in the middle as best as you can, with the experienced guys in the front and the back. I would not ride at night. I would not jump on the freeway right away, and I would certainly not go into a city, especially Detroit, at night. Just throwing that out there. A lot of things that could have been prevented there, you know. And here's another thing too. I guess that douche nozzle is quite the person, because they've had a past history between douche nozzle and new rider. They've been friends, but I guess something happened to them. I'm not going to go into it because it's personal. I'll just tell you this: if I was in new rider's shoes, I would never be friends with douche nozzle after what he did in the past. I would have probably knocked him out, to be honest. Yeah, so I don't know why you would ride with someone like that. If you guys knew what it was, you wouldn't be riding with that person. You're not one bit. And that's another thing too. If you're a new rider and the person you're riding is pushing your boundaries, trying to make you, because I don't know the story of who suggests the freeway, who decides to go in Detroit. I can't say that, but if you're a new rider, and I'm just saying this, and someone pushes your boundaries to ride, you know, certain things like do the freeway and all that, don't ride with that person. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. And if they're pushing you, don't ride with them. And if you're an experienced rider and somebody's pushing their boundaries, trying to do something that you don't feel comfortable they should be doing, don't let them do it. Put your foot down and say, no, you're not, I don't feel like you're ready to do that. You gotta let that person know you're showing them the ropes. And I hope this can also be a lesson learned from, and I hope people enjoyed the story too. So that wraps it up right there. Alright guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you like this video if you did enjoy it. Make sure you, if you can, comment, share it, subscribe. And after you subscribe, make sure you ring that Guardian bell to get notified when my channel releases new videos. Anything, all these things beats the hell out of those YouTube algorithm gremlins. Those silly little bastards. But anyways, it was great. Skella Steve out.